Okay, here we go, guys. So yeah, you got to hold with me a little bit because I'm a little bit sick. I think I got the Delta variant coming on right now. Not easy, but I was 3 days in bed, running nose, all that stuff. But now it's getting better. I had a big sunshine today, as you can see. I'm all colored and red. So here we go. 3-5 on the cross of the loss. This is a beautiful place for the 3-5 because the 3-5 has the potential to be able to discover scientific laws, the discovery of underlying rules of the way in which life works. Remember, this is the human experiential way. And deep in the experiential way, obviously, are the underlying chemical and biological and genetic structures, infrastructures that we operate out of. This is tremendous discovery possible here. And there's this deep need in us to be able to share that with humanity. In other words, the storytelling of being the belief. Most people think that it's logic that really discovers scientific principles. But one of the things to be clear about is logic that the logic is the underlying pattern structure. Discovery begins on the experiential way. First, the experiential way. There I was in the jungle and I got malaria and I was really sick. And I just for some reason started to chew on this leaf and gee, I got better. I brought some of these leaves back. Would you like to check it out? That's when it goes over to logic. And then the logic is grinding it and mixing it with chemicals and checking it against this and that and the other thing and trying to figure out what it really does and getting down to its chemical basis and then creating it artificially and selling it to you for a lot of money and punching it into your body to keep you freed from malaria too. It starts on the human experiential way. So the 3-5 storyteller is a storyteller that can tell you about the buildings of the body, the building of the organ, the building of the cell. I remember years ago in the States, Reader's Digest, they used to have this, it was hilarious. Comedians made fun of it for years. I am Joe's liver would be the same of the article, and there would be the name of this liver telling you all about itself. I'm Susan's gallbladder. Who the hell cares? But those kind of story get you into the science, just like it's the science writers who make more money than the scientists. They get you into, they get the reward. Telling the story is a wonderful thing. So the 3-5 there has tremendous potential. It has the potential of being able to discover the underlying laws. But we know that 3-5s are, and we know what they go through, and they know what their childhood is like. It's not like we're going to have a scientific discovery every 30 seconds, but the reality is that given that you have about 600 million of them in the world, we have a shot. And there are about 50 million that are in the part of the world. There are probably 10 million that come in on the cross. We have a shot that there be a few of them that we were lucky enough to have decent parents that didn't beat them down, that they could end up truly discovering something of great worth for us in understanding the underlying principles. After all, right now, the astronomical community is in great distress. The understanding of how you can bring together the unifying principle of the totality has been thrown out of whack because of neutrino with mass. We have real problems in coming to a point of our cosmology. Now we can actually have a unified field, their theory of some kind. And so there are all these demands of us right there coming at us. And now to discover the underlying laws and principles, what I'm going to do starting tomorrow, working on an underlying law of the way in which all life is sequenced. This is the nature of most important work of the time. 3-5s are handy in that effort. Handy because they will see what doesn't work. They can learn from their experience. And whatever the 3-5 learns, ultimately there's universal potential as a good story. It's a good story to turn to others. Whenever the expert really does a good job, when the life experience gets translated into the appropriate parallel. That 3-5 being will have to have a lot of logic on the system for them to be scientifically in orientation, but still recognize how important they are for us. Then we go to the 3-6. All laws are meant to be broken. All rules are meant to be broken. All rules that are made to be broken. There isn't a law that has ever existed that wasn't made to be broken. And anyone is going to break them, it's going to be the 3-6. They're going to break them over and over and over again. They're going to break their own rules over and over again. They're going to break other people's rules. They're going to break rules that people didn't think you could break. It's very hard to deal with these people. Talk about children that would challenge the rules of the house. This is really an ordeal. And one of the things that you can do is true for all threes. If you're really having trouble with rule, you ground them for some reason or whatever. You really have to go through lengths to describe to them why that's of value for them to really see. After all, it's still the cross of the laws. They are born to recognize that there are rules in laws. The problem with the 3-6 is deep, deep, deep pessimism. to be so pessimistic about the value of any rule. And the moment you put rules at these beings, it's awful. Here's another rule, and here's another rule, and here's another rule. And it's exhausting for them. They really need the benefit of. And please don't misunderstand me. You can't help them by giving them an avant-garde or liberal upbringing. This isn't the answer. An upbringing in which there are no rules and everything is easy, that's not the answer. They just see you as being dysfunctional parents. No child asks for clearer guidelines than a 3. They don't want to be misled. If you say, don't do that or else, you better back up on that else. It's one of those basic things that happens with parents. Parents tend to use coercive pressure on their children. There's always this or else. And the moment that you do that or a 3, it's like you're going anything worth with saying or else. But there's something deeply wrong with that backing it up. If you can back it up, don't make me threat. And if you going to say or less, make sure that it's appropriate. Don't do that or I'm going to kill you. You really have to understand that the 3-6 child on the cross, you have to make sure that your rules are just, that they're simple enough to be grasped so that 3-6 can see, okay, yes, rule stuff like that, they break down, they don't always work, but there are some rules that do. After all, 3-6 has a 6 at the unconscious level. If they get off the roof, at least at the unconscious level, there's growing equilibrium and balance to their pessimism in their personality. You can ultimately get to them to a healthy position when they have learned to see that a rule is not there to be obeyed or not. It's just a dividing line in the this and that. That's all it represents. And for me, it's very clear that when you get to the 3s, you get to them there in this kind of place. They're the ones that can really awaken to an understanding that there are no difference between this side of the line and that side of the line. It's relative. And of course, the scientific principles of relativity and all that kind of thinking, where Newton laws are turned into mush because there's a transcendent law that will go beyond it. So that they can be very powerful in that sense, and that they can only have what they know. Yes, there are certain laws. For whatever relativity was in the consciousness of Albert Einstein, he made it clear that dust doesn't know dice. It may be relative, but there are underlying laws. There must be. Otherwise, there could be no universe. Well, there could be no universe. Is there a universe? I don't believe there's a universe. I believe we live on a dome and that the universe is cut off. It's just some lights up there that we still don't know. Take a Nikon camera, make a photo of these planets. They're not planets, they're just lights. So good luck with that.